everybody. This is the beginning of the trip to Hawaii video. It's the day before my flight, but I'm heading to my uncle's right now because he lives close to the airport and I live really far away from the airport. So if I were to leave for the airport from where I live, I'd have to get up at like 3 in the morning. And I am not a morning person at all, so that's just like, I'm not doing that. So I'm gonna go to his place, leave my car there, and he's dropping me off at the airport, which is awesome. So I will catch you guys tomorrow at the airport. Alright, so we're here at the Kona airport. My buddy just texted me and he said that he's got surfboards and we're gonna go surfing right now. Now, I've been up for like 18 hours, so I don't feel that great, but we'll see what happens. If he wants to go surfing, we'll try going surfing. Maybe the ocean will make me feel better. Here he is. All right. I know I need to add some context. So this is my friend Eric, and I've known him since I was 12 years old. Here we are on my front porch before a middle school dance. And this is us when we played a show at the Hard Rock Cafe in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, back when we were like 16. Eat your hearts out, ladies. And here we are after our first semester of college back in December of 2014 with our other friends, Sebastian and Rob. Sebastian is the tall, dark, and handsome one, and Rob is the one who looks like he wants to get done with the photo and go for a run. But back to Eric. Now, Eric is someone that I would describe as an outdoor cat. He's very adventurous, and he and I share a mutual passion for surfing. Now, I attended college in the Hawaiian Islands for 4 years, and in that time, we never managed to link up for a surf trip. But in that time, he surfed many different places around the world, and then he found himself living on the big island of Hawaii, and he's lived here for almost 5 years now. So I'm finally making a trip out here to the islands to visit him and go surfing, and here he is picking me up at the Kona airport. We then proceeded to surf for a couple hours in Kona, but I was so antsy to get in the water that I forgot to bring my GoPro. But here we are after that surf sesh. First surf sesh down. What's the claim, Mr. Bergdahl?
What's the what?
What's the claim?
Claim?
Yeah. Post surf sesh.
You know, sometimes you have waves, sometimes the waves have you. I don't really have much else to say, but
You heard it here first, folks.
we're hoping for more than 1 foot
Oh yeah,
sometime during this trip.
maybe, eventually. Now, ladies and gentlemen, being in the islands of Hawaii, don't forget to turn your watches back a couple of hours so you know what time it is, but also remember that you're now on island time. We then had to make the drive from Kona to Hilo, and because Kilauea was going off while I was visiting, it was extremely foggy, and everyone was driving very slow on the road, so it ended up taking us a lot longer to get from Kona over to Hilo side. But eventually, we made it. Day number 2. Alright, we're here with the surf report with Eric Bergdahl. What's the status? What are we looking at here?
Looks like we got some just like little wind swells going through, but this southeast might be kind of interesting.
So kind of a longboard day.
Yeah, probably longboard day, but who knows? Tide, tide's low and rising right now, 0.3. So could make some fun little sections.
There you have it.
So we've got 6.0 fish, the hidden lib tech.
Yes.
This thing's kind of the magic board. It's been run over by a car before apparently, but it's just been getting passed around, but it's pretty fun.
Still survives.
$100 Baja shortboard picked up. It's like kind of fatty fish that just haven't quite hit it off at that one. Pretty kind of paddles like a mid-length to 6'8".
Beautiful.
Pretty low rocker. It kind of goes fast into the waves and stuff, but like once you're on it, it's like a little bit slower. Get your shark repulsion magnets in there. Oh, the goods. Kind of
Magnet.
So yeah, made by a local shaper.
Oh
In Edwards.
And then we got the Daily Rider.
Yeah, like the 6'5" shortboard. Honolulu has a lot of freshwater out in the lineup, so you kind of want a little extra float. So I got that one like 39 liters, and then kind of like the step up Kazuma, so shaper on Oahu.
Oh yeah.
And yeah, fast down the line, like go and get your barrels. Duck dives really well for being kind of a fatty. So.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, there's the shortboards.
Shortboards, now let's go to the longboard situation. Nice little foamy.
Yeah, this thing's like it's goofy, but it's fun. It's like a kid's paddleboard that I just started surfing one day, and it's actually kind of
That looks sweet, actually.
You basically like get up on the nose, and it's just steer from the nose where you want to go.
We're thinking this one and this one, yeah.
Yeah, 2 logs. One's a little bit kind of sharp. It's kind of got a weird rail on it, but it's kind of fun. Like,
I think we should just go with that.
$100.
Yeah.
Surfed it like 200 days. Hit a log surfing 12-foot bayfront and just exploded it down the edge.
Oh wow.
So yeah, you can see this. Just squeeze the water out, but when we start out, it's pretty light. When it's been out of the water for a couple months, but then it'll just get heavier every session, and then we'll dry it out for a couple more months. So good for
Rinse
a 1-week loader trip.
Rinse and repeat.
Rinse and repeat.
Keep in mind that we're on the east side of Big Island, which is known for being a very rainy place. However, the entire time that I was there, the skies looked like this, and we didn't have a single rain on our parade. Now, as far as commutes to a surfing spot go, there are many, many different commutes that surfers make every day all around the world. But as far as commutes go, I gotta claim that this one is one of the prettiest that one can possibly take from a place of residence to a nice little surf spot. I don't care where you are. This is up there, at least in my book. Now, aside from surfing in Kona right after getting off the plane, this is really my first time surfing on the Big Island of Hawaii. Now, I visited the Big Island 10 years ago in 2015, but I didn't do any surfing, and the whole time that I was here, people kept telling me, there's no surfing on Big Island. So, I don't know what you call this, but just keep in mind that there's no surf on the Big Island of Hawaii. Now, just to the left of my friend Eric is a river that flows into the ocean, which means that this spot is actually an estuary. So it makes for a very interesting surfing experience when you first jump into the ocean and the water is extremely cold and fresh water. And then you paddle a little bit to your right, and all of a sudden the water gets very warm and it gets very salty. Now, this ended up being a pretty enjoyable surf session, but this first wave that I caught was a complete dud, and it ended almost as quickly as it began. But the very next wave that I caught pretty much made up for that first one being a dud. Eric and I passed the camera back and forth throughout our surf sessions, so just in case you couldn't tell, this is Eric getting steezy with the camera angles. Shout out to Eric for capturing me goofing around on this wave. Great job with the camera.
Almost good. Woo!
It was at this point that Eric and I decided it'd be a great idea to take off on a party wave while recording and throw him the GoPro. It took a couple of attempts. This one didn't really work out because the wave kind of died, but eventually we got it. Now, there were honu all over the place swimming around while we were surfing on Big Island, and so Eric caught a selfie with this little guy. And if you recall from earlier, Eric and I had made a goal of catching a party wave and tossing the GoPro from me to him, and we finally nailed it on this wave. I threw the camera a little too far ahead of him, but he somehow snagged it and got this little video of me wiping out. Still a fun wave, though. And that about wraps up the first full day of surfing on the Big Island.
Another beautiful day in paradise.
Another beautiful day. Oh yeah.
We find our main characters on their way to breakfast and some coffee down by the waterfall before they go surfing for a second time. Would you look at that waterfall?
Free delivery. I was like, alright, are we getting wished?
My perceptions seem to have changed.
Ever so slightly.
Ever so slightly. Now 300 days later, he read something else.
Exactly. You gotta look at this table.
My favorite part's the wall in his mouth. See this? I just had to like carve this inside of the mouth.
Oh yeah. Oh damn. That is dope.
Very nice.
Hello, doggy. You like the koi fish, doggy? That dog is living its best life. Now, we had a great surf sesh yesterday, and we're about to go get another surf session. I'm a little fried, like a little burnt, but that's the price to pay. Now, I forgot to record some B-roll footage on our way to the surf spot. However, it is kind of a secret surf spot where we went this day, so just know it's an undisclosed location. And here we are, walking down to the beach.
Hiking down to Waimea.
Here we are, in the jungle, en la jungla. Qué bonita. Now, Eric had warned me not to be tricked by the pretty colors of this board, and that it actually isn't that great of a board in his opinion. But I learned the hard way. So while I was struggling, I tossed the camera off to Eric, and he caught this nice little wave. And here we are with a different angle of me struggling on that green Pizel. And wipeout. Pitiful. And here we are discussing a possible board swap. Eric was like, you want to try my board out, maybe? Alley-oop. yeah, this wave didn't go anywhere. I don't like to blame the conditions or the equipment, but I just didn't catch any good waves on the Green Paisel.
Hey, wipeout!
And here's Eric taking off on another nice one. And this was pretty much the only decent wave that I caught on the Green Paisel, and then the wave just kind of died, so we switched boards. And this is the very next wave after switching boards.
Oh yeah, now that's what I'm talking about.
And before we got out of the water, I tried to catch one more good one on the Green Paisel, which just didn't pan out. But after this surf sesh, we went back up to the property. I looked at the macadamia nuts and filmed some of the little Buddha statues around the property after we got some food from a Mexican food truck and recouped a little bit before this next surf session. Now, at this spot, I did not know that this area is the #1 breeding ground in the Hawaiian Islands for white-tip reef sharks and scallop hammerhead sharks, which doesn't really bother me because they don't really mess with people, but those hammerheads can grow up to 14 feet long, so that's a pretty big fish. Also, I ended up spending most of my time swimming around in the water without my board.
Well, I'm out here in the middle of the ocean. My leash snapped on the first wave.
All right, story time. Now, I wasn't recording when the incident happened because I was still just paddling out, but the set of the day caught me on the inside and absolutely slammed me, and when I came up, I didn't have my leash attached to my leg anymore. Luckily, some uncle found my board on the inside and paddled it back out to me, which was a lifesaver, so I don't know who he was, but shout out to that guy. You definitely hooked me up because I was getting tired out there. Now let's get right back into the action.
My board's all the way inside. Oh, I was getting slammed. That guy got the right wave though. Woo. Oh.
So tell us what happened out there.
I think Jack went for a swim more than a surf.
Yeah, I had a swimming practice session. Got my butterfly in.
They were all good. How are you swimming butterfly? It's like the hardest way to do it.
Now, I told myself after that swimming excursion that I was done for the day and I wasn't gonna surf again. But Eric and the crew rolled up to this secret spot and I was just gonna take pictures from the shore. Then I couldn't find a good spot to take the photos from. I wasn't about to just sit there while they were out there surfing. So I grabbed my board and figured out how to get out to this spot, which it wasn't too easy. It was a bit of a strange and precarious paddle. Oh, I knocked over Eric's slipper there, but I put it right back where it belongs because, you know, it's all about doing the right things when no one's watching, if you know what I'm saying. But getting in and out of the water right here was a bit precarious as well because I had already cut my feet multiple times on the reef, and so I didn't want to reopen any of those wounds. But that being said, this was a really lovely and beautiful area where you put your board into the water. Now, after that wave, I got caught on the inside as the set of the day came through, and this is the raw video of me getting run over by wave after wave after wave. And this is a guy named Jack, who's another friend from Big Island and a great photographer, taking off on that wave. Here I am failing to take off on this wave. But this one and the next one caught Jack on the inside, and he was fine. But it made for a cool shot as this beautiful wave barreled right on top of Jack's head. It makes me think of that quote from the movie North Shore, where Turtle says, "If the wave breaks here, don't be there."
Dolphin vibe, high five. You know, finish that surf sesh. What do you think, Eric?
I think we earned whatever we do after
Whatever meal comes after this, yeah. It's gonna be nice. Sounds delectable.
Pizza for the 4th meal in a row.
Pizza, pizza.
Today we will be rappelling down this waterfall.
Now, the reason I'm rappelling down this waterfall is due to my friend Eric here. See, this is his full-time job. This is what he does all the time. And so I was lucky enough to get the opportunity to get a glimpse into his day-to-day life. Now, if rappelling down a 120-foot waterfall in Hawaii seems like something that you would want to do, reach out to me and let me know, and I can put you in touch with the right people so that you could do this too. You don't need any prior experience with rock climbing or rappelling. A lot of the people on this trip, like myself, it was their first time doing anything like this. So all around, super exciting and fun experience, and I felt safe the entire time. So yeah, if this seems like something you'd want to do, just let me know.
This guy's bullying me.
You do the jump up. No, 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 no. No, 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 no.
No?
Now, I kept thinking I knew what I was doing, and so I was trying to, you know, go ahead and unclip my carabiners, and Eric was like, nah.
I wanted to live dangerously.
Yeah, that's my job.
Living like Eric.
Keeping kooks alive. It's so he doesn't run off while on rappel.
Very nice.
These hooligans like Jack, they might try to wiggle out of their harness.
I might just try to go flying.
All right,
Ready?
cut. All right, see ya. Cool. And now just don't stick your fingers in the device,
Nope.
or else you won't have them.
Alrighty.
Play guitar without fingers.
Here we go.
Let's keep them feet up. Yeah. Wow. Look, you figured it out right away.
I'm a fast learner. I try. I'm trying like this. I'm trying.
Practice. And then just step over here. We'll be out of the mud. Hell yeah.
We did it.
Woo!
Oh yeah.
World record.
Off rappel.
Now, just for some perspective, this is my buddy Eric's backyard. I mean, can you believe that? This stream is immaculate. Beautiful, beautiful spot.
Oh yeah.
I'm joining you live from the top of Hawaii's tallest rappelling waterfall, right?
Yeah.
With the #1 island mountain guide in the Hawaiian Islands, Eric Riddle himself.
Do that.
Here we go. Go.
You have just taken your first steps into a much larger world. Now, like I said before, if rappelling down this waterfall here in Hawaii seems like something you'd be interested in doing, you can find out more information on Instagram at Island Mountain Guides, and they have a link there where you can find all of your booking information, or you can just look them up on Google, typing in Island Mountain Guides, or you could comment on this video or send me a message on Instagram, and I'll put you in touch with the right people. Now let's hop right back into the action so you can see 2 more minutes of my skinny legs rappelling down this waterfall. Touchdown. And there you have it. So that is the first person's POV of what it's like rappelling down Kaulaniapia Falls. Alrighty, so you all saw this board before we started messing with it. And this is the final results. Actually, you don't know what the board looked like before we started painting it because I lost that footage. I don't know why, but it just won't import into my editing software. So just know the board used to be a blank color, and Eric went through this whole painting process, putting palm fronds on it and painting over them, and the final result is this cool rainbow eucalyptus vibe that ended up being pretty sweet.
So hopefully when it gets wet that clears up, but we got it all sealed up.
And turned it into a single fin.
Yeah, we glued this in, probably, but it's pretty solid in there. Straight enough, straight as we can get it. But I have a feeling it's gonna rip.
Let's see how it works in the water.
Oh yeah.
I mean, it's not going to be like good, but it'll be something. I think this side is okay. But the problem is it's just so shallow right now. Tide's like way down.
I think we're out there.
It might not be indicative of normal conditions. You see it's like pushing up.
Yep. And now that we were done with that quick surf session, we were going back up into the mountains and came across these pigs. And they had the cutest little baby piggies with them. So cute. So here's a moment, just admiring the piggies going back into the brush.
Dinner, pigs.
Now, after rappelling down a waterfall, going for a surf session, seeing those pigs, and eating some lunch, we decided to go for another surf session. Now this is the last wave from this session, but this wave right here is from the day before, and this is the session that I featured in my most previous vlog. And I don't know how, but through some sort of mix-up, I forgot to include this wave where Eric turned the camera around and I was catching this pretty nice little wave that I had right into this closeout, trying to pull into this barrel. And I can't believe I forgot to put it into that video. So here it is as a little bit of an honorable mention.
Woo! I got it! Woo! Look behind you!
So it is my last day on the property here in Hilo, but before I go, I wanted to show you guys their garden operation that they have here on the property. So we're gonna go find Ben and he's gonna show us around. Now, I'm not too sure where Ben is at because I'm a little early, but I do notice that they've got some taro over there, which he's gonna show us. Now, when I was in college over on Oahu, for a class, they took us over to the Manoa campus where they had wet taro farms, like taro fields. I don't know if you call them fields because they're like little bodies of water, and we helped transplant the taro to other pools. And I did not know that you could grow taro dry. I thought you could only grow taro wet, so that was interesting to learn that up here in the mountains you can grow it just straight up in the ground. Well, I just spoke to one of the gardeners, and apparently Ben, who was going to give me a tour of the garden, is off doing something and won't be back for like an hour. So I don't know if the tour of the garden is going to happen, but yeah, you never know. We'll see what happens. All right, so I'm here with Mr. Ben. Ben, what is the name of this property?
Aloha. This is the Kalaniapia Community Project. We are an off-grid sustainable living community built around our farm here, where we grow all kinds of lovely produce, including citrus, bananas, we raise chickens, and we've recently started really focusing on row crops like daikon radish, hakurei turnips, tomatoes, all kinds of brassicas like Brussels sprouts and cauliflower and broccoli. we got all kinds of goodies here.
That's awesome.
Yeah, show
That's
you
like a
little bit.
wide variety.
Yeah, about the widest.
And you just started taking those to farmers markets, yes?
Yeah, we started at our
in
first
some
farmers
stores.
market. Yes, sir.
Very
A store
nice.
called Locavore here on the big island of Hawaii in the town of Hilo.
Very nice. So if you're
Yeah.
watching this and you're in the town of Hilo, go check it out for some of this produce.
Got some chickens.
Very nice. So we got chicken coop over there, organics over here, yes?
Yeah, we got all kinds of little goodies sprouting up in here.
So are these microgreens?
No, we don't do any microgreens currently.
Okay.
So what we've got in here are tomatoes. These are sun gold tomatoes. We've got cauliflower. We've got celery. We've got artichokes getting potted up. We do this to prevent rats from doing this to our seedlings.
Oh.
The coolest stuff that we've got in here are these guys right here. These are little baby koa trees.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so we've got 6 of those currently. I've been collecting seeds from the local koa forests to grow. And yeah,
That's
I've got
awesome.
some cacao down there.
Very nice.
And that's pretty much what's going on in here.
Awesome. So this is the taro, and I was talking to you earlier about this, and I didn't know that you could grow it in the ground, not wet, right?
Yeah,
So
yeah,
this is dry taro.
There's dry taro and there's wet taro. So they grow it in ponds. That's a different variety. This one is dryland taro, also known as kolo in Hawaiian. And every part of that plant is edible. The stems, the leaves, but you have to process it, cook it, because otherwise it'll give you a nasty rash.
Wow. And these are bananas, yes?
Yeah, bananas
I don't
are
know if you can see
actually a
those
type
up
of
there.
grass.
Ah,
Yeah, so they're related to like palm trees and the grass under our feet. They grow like grass too. So
That's
they sprout
awesome.
up real quick like.
very cool. So that's about it over here, yeah? And then we got the farm over there.
Yeah, there's like some cacao trees over there, but
Very nice.
they're not doing much right now.
Say hello. Very nice. Okay. Very nice. If you don't mind my asking, what got you into farming and gardening? Like what was the initial catalyst that got you interested?
It's what I love to do. I grew up gardening with my mom, you know, from the time I was a little wee tyke.
Mm-hmm.
Just going around planting things with her and fell in love with it back then. Have been gardening ever since, became a farmer when the pandemic hit. Decided, hey, life sucks right now, might as well do something I love.
That's awesome.
So have been doing it ever since.
Becoming self-sustainable,
Yeah.
growing your own food.
And we've got our demonstration orchard in through here where we've got Ceylon cinnamon, lime, loquats, cassia cinnamon, avocados, mountain apples, lychee, sour sop, cloves, sweet sop, all kinds of stuff, but nothing in any large quantities.
Solid. Very
Yeah. The weed mat down, I've transitioned away from the weed mat because this stuff has a habit of getting buried in both dirt and weeds. The
Yep.
weeds grow through it and it's plastic. I don't like it.
Yep.
So we've transitioned to dirt pathways like this,
Very nice.
and we just kill the weeds with hose.
Right.
Pretty simple. And yeah, we're in the process of going from more like food forest, small scale ad hoc plantings to more, not monocropping, but focusing on a single crop in a single bed. So
For sure.
out there we've got 100-foot standardized beds, 30-inch bed tops, 18-inch pathways, and we're starting to grow a lot of food. We're expanding pretty quickly here.
That's awesome. And I am fully supportive of moving away from that because my garden back home, I put all of that down and now the weeds are growing through it. It's all just tangled up, and before I rototill it, I gotta yank it all out and get it out of there. It's been a nightmare.
Let me show you a little bit of our nightmare
Yeah.
that we're dealing with here. Some folks who were presumably farming, gardening here, like who knows how many years ago,
Yeah.
put down just swaths
Oh
of
no.
weed mat over here. So this shit right here is all weed mat that got overgrown with about 6 feet tall weeds right over the top
Oh
of it.
no.
And now it's got dirt mixed in with it and weeds, and we're gonna have to get this stuff out of here before we can kill
Yeah.
and start planting here. So don't use weed mat.
No. Anti-weed
use it.
mat. That is a mess. Damn, how are you gonna, like, you just take this stuff off to the dump? Or are you trying to burn it, or?
Yeah, hopefully we can keep all of the grass and let
Yeah.
it decompose and make some really nutritious soil for
Yeah.
us and get the plastic out of there. Plastic is gonna go to the dump.
Nice.
That's all it's good for.
Assuming that the soil, being volcanic soil, is super rich and nutrient full here.
Yeah, it is.
Unlike the farm soil back on the mainland that's been stripped of its nutrients for so many years. that they gotta, you know, spray all kinds of stuff on it to get the plants to grow. So I'm assuming this soil is really great soil.
It's generally pretty good. However, everything in this area that we're in, Pueomauka, used to be sugarcane plantation.
Yeah.
And that was pretty extractive of the soil, a lot of soil erosion.
Mm-hmm.
So soil has been able to rebuild a bit since then, but we're still in the process of coaxing it back to a healthy status.
Nice, very nice. Then those sunflowers over there, I want to get some close-ups of the sunflowers.
Let's do it.
So now these are your sunflowers, yes?
Yeah.
And I recall you're rather passionate about your sunflowers.
I am. They are my favorite flower because each of these is actually a little flower within the main flower head, and we're growing these for these beautiful seeds right here.
Wow.
This is what we want.
Oh, yeah.
We're gonna eat these, we're gonna feed them to our chickens. It's gonna be good stuff.
That is awesome. That is awesome.
So this is our milkweed monarch patch. We grow milkweed, tropical milkweed, specifically to attract the monarch butterflies, which are all around us right now. Usually about 10 of them hanging out here. And they lay their eggs on the bottoms of these leaves here. And then their caterpillars hatch, here's a caterpillar right here, eat the very toxic milkweed, and then absorb those toxins to use as a defense mechanism. So there's a little guy right here, monarch butterfly, caterpillar. Look at him twitching his butt as a defense mechanism right there. It's like, I'll get you, I'll get you.
Leave me alone on my leaf. That's awesome. And there's a little pineapple right here?
Yeah, that's the first pineapple that we got growing here on the farm. That's harvested pineapple top. So we cut the top off the pineapple, ate the pineapple, replanted the top. After about 2 years, it gets to the point where it makes another pineapple.
Wow, that's awesome. Well, thank you for showing me around the farm.
My pleasure.
And the garden. And I hope that the garden thrives and you guys make a lot of progress cleaning that up and nothing but good stuff moving forward.
That's what it's gonna be. We're gonna grow lots of delicious, healthy produce.
That's awesome. Sweet. So there you have it. That's the farm garden. There's a river and waterfall right over there. I don't know if you can hear it on this mic, but there's a big river waterfall that goes over that way. And yeah, they've got a pretty awesome garden going on. This whole spot is just incredible. This is like, I don't know, I haven't been all over Hilo, but from what I have seen, this is like one of the greatest spots in Hilo, on the Big Island, in Hawaii, or Hawaii. Now this was our last day on Big Island before we flew over to Oahu, and then from there, Eric was flying to Indonesia. So before his flight, he asked me to give him a haircut. Alrighty. My name is Jack, and this is Haircut.
I am Haircut.
Now, if you can't tell, Eric's got super thick hair, and he was going to Indonesia for like a month, and it's pretty hot down there. So he was like, why don't we just cut a mohawk into my hair? Now, I tried my best. However, a mohawk I did not accomplish. So we ended up just buzzing all of it, and then later on, while Eric was in Indo, he got them to bleach his hair. So the final result ended up looking pretty sweet, in my opinion. However, before we flew over to Oahu, we had to get one more surf session in on the Big Island. So here's the last surf session on Big Island before flying over to Oahu. The only predictable thing about my friend Eric is that he's unpredictable. So when he wanted to have a going away party as we were hopping over to Oahu, and from there he was going to Indonesia, and I was coming back to the mainland, we didn't really know what to expect. And then he busted out the fire spinning, which was pretty pono and a proper send-off for our time here on Big Island before we hopped over to Oahu, and for Eric, off to Indonesia. Alright, now we'll be skipping to the next morning as Eric and I were at the Hilo International Airport.
Yeah. You see the board?
G'day, Aussie Jack here checking in. So we flew Southwest and they did a great job of getting those surfboards over to Oahu. And it wasn't really any extra charge because we already had a checked bag. So good on Southwest. That was awesome. That was pretty great. I hope they don't change the policy anytime soon.
It's right there.
What's the word, Eric?
I think they're in one piece still.
Hopefully.
Not after this trip.
The legendary
escalator. Touched it. Oh no, he touched the butt.
And make a funny. You can write that down in your book.
That'll make it. Into the books it goes.
I'm about to walk up to the desk and be like, I just booked a mystery car and there's nothing mysterious about this car at all.
Where's the pizzazz?
Where's the mystery branded vehicle?
You lied to me. This is a false advertisement.
Come on, man. Come on. How dare they?
What is he doing? Wrong direction, wrong direction. I think we went down and we meant to go up. Who knows? It looks like somebody's a fire bender. Don't say it. Dude, I was joking when I recorded that video earlier, but look at the car he got us. A pickup.
$90 for the weekend.
That's ridiculous.
Just smile and wave, boys.
Smile and wave. That's ridiculous. Eric, the best schmoozer in the game. Skirt, skirt. Oh! We're on Oahu. Oh yeah. Waikiki, Honolulu.
There he is. Get in the car. Get it. There he is.
My name is Jack, but this right here is also Jack. And he's not just an awesome guy, he's also an awesome photographer, and unlike a lot of people, he shoots on film and he develops it and makes prints and sells those on his Instagram. He also does giveaways there sometimes at Jack McCall Photo. Also, he's got Pasta Farmer and Jack Surf Shots. And here are a couple examples of his work. He's got a lot of it though, so this is just a little morsel. But yeah, if you like photography, ocean photography, film, and prints, Jack is your guy. Go check him out. Now back to the drive from town to the North Shore.
tacos. That's for you, Dan.
Now, at this point in the journey, we were looking for somewhere to surf. However, there wasn't really any surf on the South Shore. There wasn't really any surf on the East Side or the West Side. The North Shore had an end of season swell, but it was completely blown out and stormy and messy and raining and massive, and nobody was out surfing at any of the spots on the North Shore. So we went and checked like every break along the North Shore from Haleiwa all the way over to Sunset Beach, and it was just massive, windy, and blown out. At this point, we were debating driving all the way to Makaha or Kaena Point or going back to Haleiwa, because that was the only spot that looked surfable. So we ended up doing just that. And here we are, right after we finished surfing Haleiwa.
Right, post Haleiwa surf sesh. What's the claim, Eric? You killed it.
Do I claim? Can I claim?
Woo!
I got worked.
Yeah.
Fun time though.
I got spit out and hit a speed bump and then exploded. Probably means it wasn't that bad.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Now, there's no footage of the session at Haleiwa because this is the North Shore of Oahu. You know, like, you want to be respectful. You don't want to be the kook from out of town with the GoPro in your mouth the whole time. So, did not record it. Sorry.
Hell yeah.
So,
in Haleiwa, about to go to Kua'aina Burgers. Outback. It's like Outback Burgers. Let's go, 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 go.
whenever I'm hanging out with you guys, I think Jack. Incredibles.
Jack attack.
I was gonna rent a board and then I found one for $60 and I surfed it like a bunch of times. Now
We're here with Pro Surfer Jack. He's just picking out his free board that he wants. So like, you know, any board that he wants, he just gets for free. Is one of the perks of the job, you know. Just so many options.
You have to run really fast.
And at this point, we were debating paddling out at Pua'ena for a second surf sesh. But Pua'ena was looking a little small and overly crowded with surf lessons. So we ended up deciding to go back over to Haleiwa again and just surf Haleiwa for a second time.
All right, well, it stopped raining, and my buddy Eric is a madman, so he's actually gonna paddle out in this chaos. So I got the long lens on my DSLR, and I'm gonna try to get some sweet like videos and photos of Eric, because I'm not about to go out in this. He wants to, because he's more daring than I.
And the conditions were super messy, so these were the only like decent pictures that I ended up getting. And this was actually a guy I met in the parking lot from the Galapagos Islands, and he caught a couple nice ones. And this is the only shot I got of Eric riding in on the whitewash.
We are pulling up here on my friends at Haleiwa Beach. It is mother frickin' Adrian and Ali. It's Adrian! Yo, Adrian! Ali! What is going on, dude? You look exactly the same, dude. Ali! You too! Oh,
You look so
Sunburnt. You look so sunburnt is what she said. Anyways, introductions are in order. These are my two friends from college that were my roommates, and I was staying with them on Oahu while I was visiting, and they were kind enough to come up to the North Shore and pick me up. I'm going to put a longer introduction into the next video, but anyways, after they picked me up at the beach, we went over to a kava bar on the North Shore that is owned by one of their friends, and it just so happened to be neighboring a surfboard manufacturer, so we had to pop our head into where they were shaping the boards and take a peek at what they got going on.
Is this Paisa? That's dope.
Yeah. Well, I have like the flavor. I mean, this one is like maybe yeah.
And that's pretty much it for the first day on Oahu. After this, we just drove back home and went to bed. But overall, it's a great time. First day on Oahu, hanging out with old friends, introducing them to other old friends, and overall just having a great time.
It's Adrian! Yo, Adrian! Oh,
Yeah.
oh well. Oh well.
Windows up.
Introductions are in order. This is my good friend Ali from college. And the man that drove past us is her boyfriend Adrian, pictured here. And pictured here. And we all met as classmates at Chaminade University of Honolulu, which is a beautiful private Catholic university on the mountain range in between Palolo and Manoa Valley, around the Kaimuki area on Waialae, nestled beautifully behind Diamond Head Crater. And here are some photos of us and our other friends when we were bright-eyed freshmen at Chaminade. And I have been lucky enough to have a lot of really awesome friends throughout life. It's a true blessing. But I say this with full sincerity. If it hadn't been for Ali and her family, I would not have been able to get through college and finish and graduate. So shout out to Ali and her family for just being awesome. And then shout out to Adrian for hooking me up with my job that I had throughout college, because Adrian worked at this surf shop down in Waikiki called Big Wave Dave's. This was the shop. They've now moved locations, so it's not there anymore. And this was our boss, Dave, and Uncle Troy. Shout out Troy for being awesome as well. But overall, it was a great job to have through college. I worked as a surf photographer, taking pictures and videos of people on their surf lessons, and I worked the cash register with Adrian inside. And yeah, shout out to the whole Big Wave Dave Ohana, Troy, Dave, Crystal, Avery, Alika, Leia, Pono, Josh, and everybody else, even if I forgot to mention your name. Now let's get back to our drive as we go from the windward side of Oahu into town to visit our old friends from college. Now, anyone that loves Oahu knows that this highway right here is one of the most scenic and beautiful drives that you can do on the entire island, in my humble opinion. And right here we've made it to Waialae, getting closer and closer to our alma mater's location. And here on our left we have Times, which was my go-to spot to get new slippers when the slippers on my feet would disintegrate.
Aloha and a komomai to Chaminade University of Honolulu, where we put an emphasis on developing the whole student mind, body, and spirit, preparing them for leadership roles in a rapidly changing world.
Now, none of us had been back to our campus since we graduated, so it had been a long time coming, and we decided it'd be fun to just stop by campus, check it out again, see what's changed since we graduated, and take a couple group pictures.
What do you think?
I think that this is super rad to be back here with you. And
Have you
Jeff.
been back since we graduated?
No. I've lived on this island for 4.5 years.
I'm not surprised.
After graduating,
Yeah.
and have never come back here.
Does that surprise me? No.
Yeah.
No.
Right here, I'm going to take you through the main entrance here at Ching Hall. This was the first building I came into when I visited Chaminade back in 2014 during my senior year of high school. Smells just the same. It's Saturday though, so there's nobody here. I had drama class in there. There's some sort of event going on. I'm not sure what it is, but it's over here at the Sullivan Library. Got a whole bunch of stuff going on. But this was my route back in the day, going from class up to my dorm. We got these stairs, and at the time, it seemed like such a jog going up these stairs. It was insane. And now it doesn't seem so bad. Yeah, we did it. Beautiful view. Good old Chaminade. Halepohaku, old dormitory. Halelokalani over in the distance. Ah, dude, maybe we should go over to the Sullivan Library. I'm in the head, baby. Sullivan Library. Ah. We got a fair going on down there. So this is where I came to study all the time, because I definitely came to the library all the time to study. Father Chaminade down there. Oh yeah. Now, before we continue with our boots on the ground tour of the Chaminade campus, we're gonna take to the skies for an aerial point of view really quickly. Now here's the view from the top of the campus. From there we're gonna cut over to Henry Hall, where you're gonna have most of your classes. From there we look at behind Henry Hall at the Sullivan Family Library, going over to Iben Hall, where the communication majors have most of their classes, along with the interior design, ceramics students, pottery. This is the Sullivan Family Library, boasting its solar panels on the roof. And from there, we're gonna go to the northernmost point of the campus, where the forensics department have their classes. forensic science, forensic psychology, stuff like that. Here's the chapel from above. A very beautiful view from inside the chapel as well. Beautiful panoramic view of Diamond Head Crater. Here we have Kiefer Hall that also has the gymnasium. Here's my sophomore year dormitory, Hale Pahaku, as seen from above. Now we're going to cut over to my freshman dorm, Hale Lokalani, which is a pretty awesome freshman dorm if I do say so myself. Maybe slightly haunted. But yeah, that is the Chaminade University of Honolulu campus tour from above.
Adrienne. Ali. Hasn't really changed much. Pretty much the same. Kind of nicer over there with those umbrellas though, instead of those dilapidated picnic tables. Ugh. Ooh. Ooh. Ugh. Wow. What are you guys doing? Loitering? Jeez. Dude.
This right here is my boy Tom. Tom was my freshman through senior year roommate. Like I said earlier, I've been blessed in life to have a lot of great friends. Tom is another great friend, and without Tom, I probably would not have been able to graduate college. Tom was my partner in crime. We did everything together. If you knew us back in the day, you didn't see one without the other. And Tom and I figured it was in our best financial interest to split a room down the middle and share the rent. So we split rent down the middle. So I was lucky to have a great experience in college and have a lot of great friends. So shout out Tom, love you.
The cat's a Chaminade. Yeah, I don't see any kitties.
Now we hung out and caught up for a while longer before Tom had to go off to work, but before we left campus, we went and looked at our freshman and sophomore dorms, and we took some photos near the entrance of campus in front of Father Chaminade. Oh, and I forgot to mention that at this point in my journey, my childhood best friend that I was visiting on Big Island that I came over to Oahu with had hopped on a plane heading down to Indonesia at this point. So while I was catching up with my friends from college, my childhood friend was heading south. And this playground to our right with the blue and red awnings, that used to be our intramurals basketball court. They got rid of our basketball court, so shout out to all my 2014 freshmen at Chaminade who I used to hoop with. Our court is gone. Now, the Chaminade campus can be a little strange because we share it with a high school private boys academy called St. Louis Academy, so that building that we just passed was actually part of the west side of campus, which belongs to the private high school. Now, as a proud Silver Sword alum, I gotta say that Chaminade has the best college campus on Oahu. Hawaii Pacific University doesn't come close, UH Manoa is closer, but neither of them have the breathtaking views that you can get at Chaminade because Chaminade is on the mountainside. And I forgot to mention one more thing about my boy Tom. Tom is pretty much responsible for me making these vlogs because Tom and I had a shared passion around videography, and so I majored in the same major as Tom because that's what he was studying, and when I went to college, I came undecided, not knowing what I wanted to do, but I've always loved movies and storytelling, and so when Tom told me that he was going to be studying video production and photography and classes like that, I just ended up picking the same major as him, and we had all the same classes throughout school. Which was great because I wanted to learn how to edit videos and I wanted to make videos because I was inspired to make YouTube videos because of people like Casey Neistat, Fun for Louie, the Juke Squad, Ben Gravy, and tons of other YouTubers who were really popular in the 2010s. But I never got around to actually making videos when I was in college because we were focused on classes and I could come up with a million excuses why we didn't do it. But the main reason was probably because if you don't do something, then you can't fail at it. So the fear of failure stopped me from actually making videos while I was in college. But 6 months ago, I made my first YouTube video, We just hit 100 subscribers here on YouTube, so thank you to everybody who's subscribed. I really appreciate it. So even though that's not really a monumental accomplishment here on YouTube, it's still a step in the right direction. And my college self would be really proud of me today for making these videos. Even if I never acquire the success of some of those other YouTubers that I mentioned before, I'll still be proud that I made these just because I finally got around to actually doing it. Now at this point in the journey, we were cruising down Kapahulu, going into town, retracing our route that we would take from campus to the beach back in college, because in 2014, I didn't have a car or a moped yet, and I just had my penny board. So I used to take my 6'11" shortboard that I got from the Diamond Head Surf Shop under my arm on my penny board and skate down Kapahulu to the beach, and then stash my board in a banyan tree or some bushes or under the sand somewhere and go surfing at Queens or Canoes, Pops, Publix. If I felt up to it, I'd skate down to Ala Moana Bowls or Rock Piles. And if I felt really up to it, I would just cruise around the backside of Diamond Head through the Kaimuki area past like KCC and go surfing over at Diamond Head, which Diamond Head is probably my favorite surf break on the south shore of Oahu. If I had to pick like one place that I could surf over and over again, it'd probably be Diamond Head. And earlier in this video, I showed you the original Big Wave Dave's location where Adrian and I worked in college. And this is it right here. This new building that's being built along Koa Avenue is the old location of the Big Wave Dave's where we worked, which unfortunately is no longer here. And it's kind of sad because I got a lot of great memories of working there, especially around closing time in the evening. Koa Avenue just had this really cozy vibe that I can't really describe, but it was always just really fun around closing time, watching the city of Honolulu wake up for the night as you're getting ready to close up shop and go home. But before we leave Koa Avenue and head over to Diamond Head, I gotta share one of the funniest stories from when I worked there. I had a coworker named Pono, shout out Pono, and he had a Sector 9 Bob Marley skateboard with the red, yellow, and green light up wheels. That skateboard got stolen by a homeless guy, and Pono saw it and stole it back. This homeless guy proceeded to come to the shop looking for Pono with a metal baseball bat. And when he found Pono, swung at him, and Pono ate that on his forearm and then grabbed it and threw it aside and pushed the guy, and he fell backwards and tripped over his bicycle, and then HPD showed up and got him. It was a very impressive moment to say the least, because this homeless guy had to be at least 6'4", maybe 6'5". I don't know how tall Pono is, but he's not that tall, and so I was afraid that Pono was about to have his head smashed in, and he managed to disarm the guy and stand his ground and get him to fall over his bicycle. And then immediately the cops showed up. It was just, in that moment, Pono had a lot of aura. As the kids would say today, a lot of aura for sure. Now, after all of that busyness in town, catching up with college friends and going around our campus, we had to head back over to the east side to Waimanalo, where Allie and Adrian lived, because they were in the process of moving from Oahu to the big island of Hawaii, and there was a little bit of a sending off, going away party on the property that we had to get back for. So the plan was head back over to the east side, relax for a nice chill evening, and the next day, Adrian and I would try to catch some waves before I had to hop on a plane back to the mainland. Now, depending on the time of year, you can sometimes see some whales breaching off in the distance in this little area in between Maui and Oahu. Unfortunately, today, couldn't see any whales, and the visibility wasn't so great, so you couldn't see Maui off in the distance. But here we are pulling up on Sandy Beach Park. Gotta love Sandy's. Speaking of Sandy's, my freshman year there was a girl named Alice, and first week of school, she went to Sandy's and was in about knee-deep water, and a wave came in and hit her, snapped her shin bone, and she was in a cast on crutches the rest of that semester. And here we are driving past Makapu'u Beach Park, and I'm going to say it right here and right now, Makapu'u Beach Park is my favorite beach on the island of Oahu. But before we move on, back to Sandy's, because I've got one more story about Sandy's. That board that I showed you earlier that I got from the Diamond Head Surf Shop, I took to Sandy Beach Park right after I got it. and I did not have any business surfing to the left of where the boogie boarders boogie board. But there were some surfers out there surfing, and there was this uncle on the beach waxing up his board near me, and I went over and talked to him, and I said, hey, I've surfed before on the East Coast in the Outer Banks. I've never surfed in Hawaii. Is this a chill spot to paddle out? And he was like, oh yeah, bro, this is super chill. You just follow me out and you'll have a super mellow time. So I was like, oh, cool. I'll just follow him out. So I followed him out into the lineup, and that was a bad decision. I had no business being there. Total kook move. I didn't have enough wax on top of my board to begin with, so I was slipping and sliding all over the place. And this other uncle saw me struggling and immediately paddled over to me and was like, hey, brah, you have no business out here. You're gonna get yourself or someone else hurt. Paddle in right now. I was like, say less. I'm out of here. I caught the next wave in like a boogie board, but my knees and shins were dragging behind me. Got all ripped up on the reef, and I came in bleeding everywhere. And I was like, yep, that was a total kook move. Biggest kook moment of my life. Great success getting the car gone. Loop-de-loop. Some B-roll of the little prop. Here we are doing some chores in preparation for the Yo Garden festivities that were to take place later on. This is such a beautiful spot. Just look at those mountains and how the clouds touch the tops. Exquisite. Oink, oink. I had never touched a pig before, and I was very surprised at how thick and coarse their hair is. My goodness, it's like straw. That'll do, pig. That'll do. And then we had the events of that evening where Allie sold her produce at the Yo Garden festivities. These were the musicians that are popular musicians in Hawaii that played at the venue. This was the crowd. Overall, beautiful music, beautiful evening. And now we're gonna jump to the next morning as Adrian and I scouted out the spots on the east side, trying to find the best place to go surfing. Now, the reason that we checked Waimanalo is because I've always been drawn to novelty waves. Now, Waimanalo is not really a beach where you would surf or you'd see people surfing. However, I surfed there a lot in college just because it was fun to get away from the crowds and not worry about people dropping in on you and not having to worry about a long paddle out or anything. It was just fun to go and mess around in the shore break. So that's why we went and checked it. Nobody else really would. I'll take whichever one you don't want. Well, you're bored, so I'd say you get priority.
I like this board.
I'll take the blue one. The balloons. Balloons.
claim?
Claim is we're gonna catch some fun ones.
Oh, yeah. You know it. Great success. Beautiful day. Perfect weather. Oh yeah.
And then we decided to go check out Sandy's and see what was going on over there.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. I am wiped. Plus, those fins don't really fit, so they've been crushing my toes, but it's still fun. Adrian's still out there in the shore break. Oh yeah. Right now we have like a concert get-together type of situation here on the farm where my friends live, and so I'm gonna take you guys down to the event area and just kind of show you around what it looks like when they're selling produce and other stuff that's made here on the farm, just kind of give you guys a look of what it all looks like. So let's go.
Now, for those of you who have been paying attention, you might say, Jack, this continuity is all messed up. I thought that the music event at the farm was the night before you went surfing, so let me explain here in a second.
It's kombucha, by the way. Mango kombucha, I think. It's rather good.
See, my footage is stored by the date that it was recorded, and so somehow the footage from this date wound up getting pushed back, and so I thought I lost it, and now I just found it. So here is yesterday's footage of the monthly get-together with live music where they sell their produce that they grow here at Yo Garden.
Hello. And there you have it. So later there will be music played. We're not playing music yet, and yeah, that's what it looks like. Pretty cool setup. Beautiful spot here in Waimanalo. So this is what it looks like over here.
I wanted to just run over and grab. I brought a bunch of cool stickers if anybody wants one for free. They're beautiful vinyl stickers.
Dude, I literally just latched it and put him back in there, and Alma's just sitting there chewing on a bone. I don't know how this dog keeps getting out. You want me to take him back up there?
Yeah, dude.
Yeah.
If you're down to handle more dog stuff.
Yeah.
Anyways, we're back on track, and now it is my last day here on Oahu. We started the day off by catching some waves over at Waimanalo before taking me into town to grab a bite, say aloha to Tom, and hop on the plane. Like I said before, Waimanalo's not really a surfing beach, it's more of a novelty wave, so this was just for old time's sake, a little throwback to messing around in the Waimanalo shore break before heading to the airport. And with that, we wrap up our trip to Big Island and Oahu. Shout out to Allie, Adrian, Tom, Eric, and everybody that made this trip unforgettable. I love you all, and aloha. Until next time.